this boundless eternal inner light is the best medicine, and for when drunk it bestows complete and final liberation. Just drink it. O mortal beings, you have submerged yourselves fully in the ocean of material existence, which is filled with the waves of misfortune. Please hear as I briefly tell you how to attain your supreme benefit. Just put aside your various attempts at gaining knowledge and instead begin constantly chanting the mantra Om Namah Narayan and bowing down to the Lord. Our Master, the personality of Godhead Narayan, who alone rules these three worlds, whom one can serve in meditation and who happily shares his personal domain. He is manifest before us, yet still we beg for the service for some minor lord of few villages, some lowly man who can only meagerly reward us. Alas, what foolish wretches we are! O Lotus, I Lord, please sustain our lives as we constantly relish the nectar of meditating on your lotus feet, with our palms prayerfully joined, our heads bowed down, our bodily hair standing up in jubilation, our voice choked with emotions, and our eyes flowing with tears. The head is the loftiest, which is white with dust from bowing down to Lord Krishna. Those eyes are the most beautiful, which darkness has abandoned after they have seen Lord Hari. That intelligence is spotless, like the white glow of the moon or a conch shell which concentrates on Lord Madhava, and the tongue rains down nectar which constantly glorifies Lord Narayan. O tongue, praise the glories of Lord Kesava. O mind, worship the enemy of Mura. O hand, serve the Lord of Sri. O ears, hear the topics of Lord Achyuta. O eyes, gaze upon Sri Krishna. O feet, go to the temple to Lord Hari. O nose, smell the tulsi buds on Lord Mukada's feet. O head, bow down to Lord Adhaksaja. Adhoksaja. That's it, right, Prabhuji? Till 20?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Prabhu.
प्रभु जी ये अध्यक्षजा लॉर्ड का नाम है क्या?
Yes.
Okay.
Shukla is somebody, say, we cannot understand him just by our mental speculation or by experimentation. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's only known as he is through the Vedas, through our scriptures, through our gurus. So yeah, it's difficult. It's just difficult to understand Lord by our mental gymnastics or by some mental experimentation. So that is the name of Adhokshaya, Lord of the name of Krishna as Adhokshaya. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu, for reading. Yes.
Nice translation, bro. Enjoyed like how our feet, eye, nose, everything should be used for what purpose. Like how we'll get the boat to cross this material river, right? So that is also very good thing.
Yes. Yeah, very practical. Everything that Pinkula Shekhar has given us here is very, very practical. Even though this was 5,000 years ago at the beginning of Kali Yuga when he appeared, he knew what the people of Kali Yuga would need. So he has given us those very practical instructions.
Yes.
To be wonderful verses as garland offered to the Lord. Yeah,
But
so
still,
we can smell the freshness of the fragrance of all these flowers that he has given us as verses.
yes. Yeah. Let's keep our best try always to get a small place in the boat to cross the river.
It's an ocean. This material world is a material Ocean.
Ocean, not river. Yeah, my bad.
But even the ocean we can cover. It is almost when we are surrendered to the Lord, then He says this just becomes like a small collection of water. The ocean becomes as small as the hoof of a cow, right? एक छोटी सी गाय का जो पाँव का चिन्ह होता है वो कितना सा होता है एक बछड़े का उतना सा. It becomes so small, and then we are able to just jump over this ocean
Hmm.
just by chanting the holy names. So that is how, like I think in one of the verses he was saying that once the Lord is seen, then this whole world, this whole earth becomes like a speck of dust, right? It just becomes a speck of dust. The whole oceans become just like droplets of water. Um,
Yeah,
so all the winds become just a sigh, right? So how tiny all this creation is in the like, overall creation of the Lord. So we are actually able to then cross over this ocean.
I'm just thinking like when Voyager, the spacecraft, right? They took the photo from Earth, from Pluto. It is just a minute, like a dust. Just think about outside the solar system, outside our galaxy, outside our universe, multiverse, how our Earth is.
Yes. And if you think how much small we will be, if the Earth itself is a speck of dust, then we are like the corona COVID virus. He was saying in the first verse,
Yes.
"Bawalum thana COVID-eti," right? So Nateti Nagashainiti Chagannivaste. So but that is not that COVID, but yeah, but the Krishna takes us out of the repeated cycle of birth and death. Bhavaluntana COVID-eti, that's another name of the Lord. But yeah, we are as small as one of those viruses. We cannot even be seen if Earth is just a speck of dust.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yes, this weekend, I think we have a nice katha on what NASA can learn from Srila Vyasadev's scriptures, from Puranas, from Vedas. We have a devotee coming from Michigan. His
Oh,
name is
really? Okay.
Siddha Haridas. So yeah, I sent out the flyer yesterday. But yeah, it'll be interesting on the similar lines to hear from him.
Yeah.
He was a PhD student and then he is now serving Srila Prabhupada's movement. So it'll be
That's what I'm
nice.
thinking. All scientists are becoming Krishna devotees.
Hari bol. Okay. All right. So with that, we'll continue from our reading of Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit. So yesterday we started chapter 14. Prabhupada has reached New York finally, and being he's a guest at one of the acquaintance he had received from Bombay, Dr. Mishra, Ramurthy Mishra. I think his Prabhupada is calling him Mayavadi because he's following in the Shankaracharya's philosophy of considering oneself to be same as the Lord, so not believing in the supreme um, existence of the supreme personality of Godhead. But still, Srila Prabhupada was with humility tolerating him because, of course, he was the one who was giving him shelter at this point in time. But though did Prabhupada have his he was revealing his heart and revealing his mind with him. Uh, Yet, I think Dr. Mishra, and like he said, also Dr. Mishra was mentioning that Prabhupada was the one who helped him get back into life because he was almost on the verge of death. But by eating the Krishna Prasadam that Prabhupada used to cook, and at the proper regulated time, he was able to get back the energy, and he realized that this was actually not just some food, but it was really life giving. Uh, it was a life saver and life giver, the prasad that Prabhupada cooked for him. Okay, so with that, we'll continue. I think we are reading from this part, so I can continue today. All right. So every morning, several hours before dawn, Prabhupada would rise, take his bath, chant Hare Krishna on his beads, and work at his translating. While outside his closed in, windowless chamber, dawn came and the city awoke. He had no stove, so daily he had to walk the 7 blocks to the Riverside Drive apartment to cook. It would be late morning when he would come out onto the busy street. He would walk north on Columbus Avenue amid the steady flow of pedestrians, pausing at each intersection in the sweeping breeze from the river. Instead of the small town scenery of Butler, he passed through rows of 30-story office buildings on Columbus Avenue. At street level were shoe repair shops, candy stores, laundries, and continental restaurants. The upper stories held the professional suites of doctors, dentists, and lawyers. At 75th Street, he would turn west and walk through a neighborhood of brownstone apartments and then across Amsterdam to Broadway with its Center Island Park. The greenery here could more accurately be described as blackery, since it was covered with soot and city grime. Broadway displayed its produce shops and butcher shops, with their stands extending onto the sidewalk, and old men sat on benches in the thin strip of the park between the northbound and southbound traffic. The last block on 75th, before Riverside Drive, held high rise apartment buildings with doormen standing. 33 Riverside Drive also had a doorman. Sometimes Prabhupada would walk in Riverside Park, still careful for the condition of his heart. He liked the long stretches of flat walking area. Sometimes he would walk from Dr. Mishra's studio down 72nd Street to Amsterdam Avenue to the West End Superette, where he would buy produce and spices for his cooking. Sometimes he would wander through Manhattan without any fixed direction, and sometimes he would take buses to different areas of the city. On weekends, Prabhupada would accompany Dr. Mishra to his Ananda Ashram, 1 hour north of the city, in Monroe, New York. We have a Monroe in Cincinnati also. Hopefully, Prabhupada can come here. Okay. Joan Sewell, who used to drive them, would overhear their animated conversations in the back seat of her car. Although they spoke in Hindi, she could hear the discussions turn into loud, shouting arguments. Afterward, they would again become friends. At Ananda Ashram, Prabhupada would usually hold kirtan, with Dr. Mishra's students joining him in the chanting and even in dancing. Dr. Mishra was particularly fond of Prabhupada's chanting. Ramamurthy Mishra. I have never seen or met any devotee who sang so much, and his kirtan was just ambrosial. If you pay attention and become relaxed, that voice has very electrical vibrations on your heart. You cannot avoid it. 99% of the students, whether they liked it or not, got up and danced and chanted, and I felt very blessed to meet such a great soul. Harvey Cohen, a visitor to Anand Ashram. Everyone got up early and went to morning meditation. Dr. Mishra was dressed in a golden Indian style jacket, and his students were already deeply into it when I entered the room. All the cushions were taken, so I picked a spot in the back of the room where I could lean against the wall to facilitate my meditation. Seated at one side was an older Indian man in saffron cloth and wrapped in a pinkish wool blanket. He seemed to be muttering to himself, and I later discovered that he was praying. It was Swami Bhakti Vedanta. His forehead was painted with a white, V shaped sign, and his eyes were half shut. He seemed very serene. Harvey tried, but he couldn't do the Raj Yoga. He was new to Anand Ashram and had only come up for a weekend retreat. During his morning meditation, he found himself more attracted to the green mist above the lake outside the window than to the circle on the wall he was supposed to be meditating on. Harvey. I went to my room. The rain was increasing and beating against the windows. It was peaceful, and I was glad to be alone. I read for a while. Suddenly, I sensed someone standing in the doorway. Looking up, I saw it was the Swami. He was wrapped in his pink blanket like a shawl. Can I come in? He asked. I nodded, yes, and he asked if he could sit in the chair in the corner. What are you reading? He smiled. Kafka's Diaries, I replied, feeling a little embarrassed. Oh, he said, and I put the book down. He asked what I was doing at the ashram and if I was interested in yoga. What kind of yoga are you studying? I don't know much about it, I answered, but I think I'd like to study Hatha Yoga. This didn't impress him. There are things better than this, he explained. There are higher, more direct forms of yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the highest, it is the science of devotion to God. As he spoke, I got the overpowering realization that he was right. He was speaking the truth. A creepy, ecstatic sensation came over me that this man was my teacher. His words were so simple, and I kept looking at him all weekend. He would sit so calm and dignified with warmth, and he asked me to visit him when we got back to the city. Dr. Mishra would give lectures carrying the impersonal interpretation of Bhagavad Gita according to Shankara, and Prabhupada, when allowed to speak, would counter them. Once Prabhupada asked Dr. Mishra to help him in spreading Lord Chaitanya's movement, but Dr. Mishra sidestepped Prabhupada by saying that he considered Prabhupada an incarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and therefore not in need of help. Prabhupada replied that since Mishra was also the name of Lord Chaitanya's father, Dr. Mishra should help spread Lord Chaitanya's movement. Srila Prabhupada offered to engage him in checking the Sanskrit to his translations of Srimad Bhagavatam, but Dr. Mishra declined, a decision he later regretted. Okay, I think we'll stop here for today. Haribol. Anybody has any thoughts or reflections? Prabhupada's vision is always in the transcendental world. Right? So he's saying, you are Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation. So he's saying, you are Mishra, you are Jagannath Mishra. So your father, your Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu's Mahaprabhu's father. So you should help him, help Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
A very funny incident. I got reminded when it was mentioned in today's reading that Prabhupada was better would meditate on the greenery outside than on the circle on the wall. About like when a lady came to Prabhupada and said, it was later maybe, when she said that when I chant Hare Krishna, or when I meditate, not sorry, chant Hare Krishna, a red light comes on my forehead. I meditate on a red light, something like that. And then Prabhupada said, keep chanting Hare Krishna and the red light will disappear. So just small things, funny incidents, shows that Prabhupada was so against impersonalism and was, the natural bhakti is so blissful, so sweet, and the impersonalism is so much dry in front of the bhakti towards Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yes. Anybody else? Any other thoughts?
Yes, Prabhu, something similar to what Meenakshi Mohini Mataji said. So, I really like that line where it says, the greenery is more like blackberry. So when I was I was not into Krishna consciousness, and when I used to live in North Carolina, I remember I used to I used to walk towards the downtown. My office was there. So I don't know, but I used to look at the buildings and I used to feel so trapped inside. Like everything was good, like there was greenery and, people are so fond of like huge buildings here, and they like really, people back in India, they're like, oh, wow, America is so nice and all that. But whenever I used to walk, I used to cry. I was like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I like everything is fine? But when I used to look at buildings, I used to be like, oh my God, this is not where my heart belongs. I did not know why, but now I know why. So no matter what we do, here, it just feels dry. But when you are connected to, Krishna, and when I came in contact with devotees and you all and, Krishna consciousness, it just felt like, I found like oasis in a desert. So that's what I think. No matter where you are, but if you're connected to Krishna, it's just perfect.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes, very nice. Yeah, because we've had our journeys, and and that's the beauty. Like we see, truly seeing the Shivatma, the soul, in every living entity, because we don't know what the journey has been, but the external bodies are just a covering, right? And we see, how the devotees are taking birth in all parts of the world because they have to fulfill the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you never know a person in a black body or a white body or a brown body. Right? Everywhere we are seeing devotees, and it is like rightly said. I remember I was in New Vrindavan once for one of this kids camp, and we had some seminar with one of the Matajis there, Prabhupada disciple. She was asking something similar, and then I don't know, out of nowhere, I mentioned I feel out of place in this world. I just feel like I don't belong here, and it just came naturally. Like as she was asking the question, that thought just came because like you rightly said, we feel like when we got connected to this, we felt, oh, we found our world. This is where we belong, because everything else just seems so out of place. The other thing that you talked about, the buildings, especially, and since I was talking about COVID, and I got COVID in 2021, this was before vaccines came out. I really feel like when I think back to that time, I really struggled at that time so it was kind of a second life that the Lord gave me, is what I feel, because I really almost felt like, okay, I'm about to go now. And when I was in India, and then when I came back here to the US, and my family was still in India, and I was like still recovering from that, from the effects of the disease. And I remember walking outside, and I was like, this exact same feeling what you just described in words. I was not able to describe it now. I just remembered that, like, just walking outside, I just didn't feel like I want to go into any house or any building. I just wanted to be outside in nature, and that was kind of the feeling. It's exactly the same feeling that, I don't know why we have created all these big buildings. Like, I used to walk around and I used to think, why people have created all these big buildings, and we just want to stay stuck inside. But we're actually supposed to be free, supposed to be outside. And some of those thoughts just came to my mind at that point, when back in 2021. So anyway, I was reminded of that as you were speaking. Thank you, Shreya Mataji, for sharing your heart.
Yeah,
Anybody else have
for
any other
sharing
thoughts?
yours.
Yeah. Any other reflections? Ritesh Prabhu, anything you would like to share?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mata. Thank you, Shreya Mata. Thank you, Meenakshi Mata. I mean, all your feelings really touch the things, and I'm sure that one or two incidents also happened with me during the COVID time, and also during like regular things where we felt that whether it's a building, whether it's something, they were all materialistic, and there's a very superior connection. And coming back to Krishna consciousness really gave me some very enlightened path to do something about it. And again, but the fact is that we again come back to the materialistic world and we get carried away by the daily activities. But those feelings were always real. Those feelings, whenever, even at a, like a tinge of light that the God gave us, that yes, what we are living is in a materialistic love and life, and still we have to follow all the materialistic pathways for the betterment of our family. We still keep doing that. So thank you everyone for sharing your feelings. Thank you everyone for giving us the true examples that we can relate to. And looking back at Prabhupada's path, I mean, he was so devoted, he was so inclined that he got never sidelined by the other things, which is really an inspiration for each and everyone's life. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone, for sharing all your and giving us the path for enlightenment.
For your sincerity, and yeah, you're very dedicated, and we all pray that may you continue to progress on the path of bhakti. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
All right. If nothing else, then we'll conclude here for this morning. Thank you once again for your kind association every morning for the Japa call and reading from Srila Prabhupada books. Then end with Vaishnava Pranam prayers. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Have a great day.